When someone has an avoidant attachment style, their love doesn't always look the way you expect it to. It's not loud, it's not always obvious, and it's rarely straightforward. But when they truly love you, their actions, though subtle, reveal everything. Avoidants are wired to protect themselves from closeness. They fear losing independence, they fear being vulnerable, they fear needing someone too much. That's why their default is distance. But here's the truth, when an avoidant really loves you, you'll notice shifts that don't come easily to them. They'll step out of their comfort zone, they'll break their own patterns, they'll do things that contradict the very walls they've built to stay safe. Love makes them choose connection over fear, and even if it doesn't come naturally, love compels them to risk what they've always avoided. So, what are the signs? How do you know when an avoidant truly loves you? They don't just disappear when things get hard, they make the effort to stay present. They may not always say, "I love you," but you'll see it in the ways they show up, even when it's uncomfortable for them. True love for an avoidant isn't about words, it's about the battles they fight within themselves just to stay close to you. When they allow closeness, when they begin to trust, when they let you see the sides of them they normally hide, that's love. Not the easy, convenient kind of love, but the kind that costs them their old habits, their old fears, their old armor. So, if you're with an avoidant, don't look for love in the places where it's obvious. Look for it in the sacrifices. Look for it in the small but powerful ways they let you in. Because for someone who fears intimacy, choosing intimacy with you is the loudest declaration of love they'll ever make. Avoidants fear closeness and vulnerability, so love doesn't look traditional. They are often misunderstood because the way they show affection doesn't always match the way most people expect love to be expressed. Instead of leaning in easily, they often lean back. Instead of opening up quickly, they guard themselves tightly. Their hearts are not cold, they are simply cautious. Years of experiences, disappointments, or fears may have taught them that closeness comes with risks. For them, intimacy feels dangerous because it threatens their sense of independence. The very thing that most people crave, deep connection, can feel overwhelming to someone with an avoidant style. So when they truly love you, it won't always look like constant affection or endless words of reassurance. It might not come in the form of daily "I love yous" or grand romantic gestures. Instead, it comes in quieter ways, in choices that go against their own natural instincts. You'll notice it when they choose to stay present even when they feel the urge to pull away. You'll feel it when they start letting you into the parts of their world that they usually keep hidden. Love for them is not effortless, it's a battle. A battle against their own fears, against the protective walls they've built, against the urge to escape whenever emotions feel too heavy. That's why their love carries so much meaning, because every step closer they take toward you is a step outside of their comfort zone. If they sit with you through conflict instead of disappearing, that's love. If they share their deeper thoughts, the ones they rarely give voice to, that's love. If they make the effort to connect with you even when it doesn't come naturally, that's love. Love, for them, is about showing up when it would be easier to walk away. It's about letting you see the truth beneath the mask they wear to protect themselves. It's about choosing closeness, even when closeness is the very thing they fear most. And while others may not notice these subtle shifts, you will, because you'll see the quiet sacrifices they make just to let you in. For an avoidant, true love is not about perfection, it's about effort. It's about the courage to stay, the courage to trust, and the courage to risk being hurt. And that courage only appears when they truly love you. Their instinct is to protect themselves by creating distance. It's not because they don't care, and it's not because they want to hurt you. It's because closeness feels risky to them. They've learned somewhere along the way that letting people in can lead to pain. So, rather than running toward intimacy, they step back from it. Distance feels safer. It gives them room to breathe, to think, to feel in control. But love has a way of challenging those instincts. When they truly love someone, that natural reflex to create space begins to shift. They still feel the urge to retreat, but love gives them a reason to stay. They may not say everything out loud, but you'll notice small changes in their behavior. Instead of walking away in moments of conflict, they linger a little longer. Instead of shutting down completely, they open up just enough to let you in. It might not seem like much, but for them, those are monumental steps, because every move toward closeness feels like an act of bravery. Love pushes them to test the very walls they built for protection, and slowly, piece by piece, those walls begin to crack. You'll notice when they share a secret they never tell anyone else. You'll notice when they sit quietly by your side, even though silence usually feels more comfortable than connection. You'll notice when they let their guard down and show you the raw, unpolished parts of themselves. These moments may look small, but they carry a weight you cannot ignore, because for someone who hides behind distance, choosing closeness is never accidental. It is deliberate. It is a choice made against their very instincts. And that choice is where their love reveals itself. The instinct to create distance never fully disappears. It will always whisper to them in moments of vulnerability, but love makes them resist that whisper. Love makes them hold on a little tighter, stay a little longer, and trust a little more. And when you see them fighting against their own nature just to be close to you, that's when you know what they feel for you is real. When they love, they break their own patterns. An avoidant is used to keeping their world small and protected. They're used to routines that allow them to feel safe, detached, and in control. They create habits that keep people at arm's length, and those habits often feel unshakable. But love changes everything. Love disrupts their patterns. Love pushes them to act in ways that don't come naturally, but feel necessary. When they care deeply, they can no longer hide behind the same walls they've always leaned on. They may still feel the pull to retreat, but their desire to keep you close begins to outweigh the comfort of their old habits. So instead of disappearing after a conflict, they stay and talk it through. Instead of holding back emotions, they allow themselves to share feelings, even if it's messy, even if it feels terrifying. Instead of avoiding plans for the future, they start to include you in their vision of what's ahead. These are not small changes. For them, they are massive shifts, because they go against everything they've taught themselves about safety and survival. Patterns are built from fear, from the belief that distance equals protection. But when love enters, that belief starts to weaken. They realize that closeness doesn't always mean danger. They begin to see that trust can exist without loss of independence, and slowly, they start taking risks they never thought they would take. They open up even when their instinct is to stay silent. They reach out even when it feels easier to pull away. They give more of themselves than they ever imagined they could. It's not easy. Every step forward feels like a struggle against the pull of their old ways. But that struggle is proof of how much you mean to them, because when someone who avoids vulnerability chooses to face it head on, it's not by accident. It's a conscious choice born out of love. Love makes them brave. Love makes them stretch beyond the limits they once thought were unbreakable. Love makes them choose connection over protection, even if that choice feels frightening. And when you see them breaking their own patterns they've lived with for years, you're witnessing one of the clearest signs that their love for you is real. Love pushes them to risk closeness despite discomfort. For someone who fears intimacy, that risk feels enormous. Their natural instinct is to stay guarded, to keep their emotions under control, and to avoid anything that could make them feel dependent on another person. But when they love, that instinct begins to shift. They may still feel uneasy, but their desire to hold on to the relationship becomes stronger than their fear of being vulnerable, so they take small but powerful risks. They might open up about something personal, even though sharing makes them feel exposed. They might let you see their softer side, the part they usually protect from everyone else. They might allow themselves to lean on you, even if it feels unfamiliar and uncomfortable. Every one of these actions carries weight, because for them, closeness doesn't come naturally. Closeness feels like surrender, and surrender feels dangerous. But love teaches them that surrender can also bring safety, connection, and peace. So, Little by little, they let go of the distance they once clung to. They may not know how to say the perfect words, but they'll show their love by choosing to stay close instead of pulling away. They'll sit through uncomfortable conversations rather than disappearing. They'll admit fears they usually bury deep down. They'll risk being misunderstood just so you can understand them better. Those risks don't come easily, but love makes them worth it. Because the truth is, every time they risk closeness, they are also risking pain. But they are also choosing trust. They're choosing to believe that this time, things could be different. That this time, being close won't mean losing themselves. That this time, love is strong enough to hold them through the discomfort. And the more they risk, the more they grow. The more they grow, the more they realize that closeness isn't a threat, it's a bridge. A bridge that connects them not only to you, but to a deeper version of themselves. Love doesn't erase their fear overnight. It doesn't silence the voice in their head that urges them to retreat, but it gives them a reason to keep moving forward, even when every part of them wants to run. And that's the beauty of it, because when someone who has always chosen distance begins to choose closeness instead, you are seeing love in its most powerful form. They don't run when things get hard, they fight to stay. For someone who has always protected themselves with distance, this is one of the clearest signs of love. Avoidants are used to withdrawing when conflict appears. They are used to stepping back when emotions grow intense. Running feels safer, easier, less messy, but love changes the rules. Love gives them a reason to hold their ground, even when every instinct is telling them to escape. So instead of walking away from a difficult conversation, they stay in it. Instead of shutting down when emotions rise, they begin to open up, even if only a little. They start to realize that connection is worth the discomfort. Staying doesn't mean they are suddenly fearless. It means they've found something, or someone, worth facing the fear for. And that is no small thing. Every time they resist the urge to pull away, they are fighting a battle inside themselves. A battle between fear and love. A battle between safety and vulnerability. And when love wins, they stay. They stay to listen, even when the words are hard to hear. They stay to talk, even when talking feels heavy. They stay to work through the problem, even when disappearing would be easier. That choice carries meaning because staying is not their default. It is not comfortable, it is not easy, it is an act of courage, it is a declaration that you matter more to them than their fear of closeness. They may not always get it right, they may still stumble, still struggle, still fight the old urge to retreat. But the fact that they keep coming back, the fact that they keep choosing presence over absence, speaks louder than words ever could. It shows that love is reshaping their patterns. It shows that you've become more important than the comfort of their old habits. It shows that walking away is no longer an option they want to take. For someone who has always seen distance as protection, choosing to stay is the greatest risk of all, and yet it is also the greatest proof of love. Because when things get hard and they refuse to run, what they're really saying is, you're worth the fight, you're worth the fear, you're worth staying for. And that is what makes their love so powerful. It isn't about perfection, smooth words, or effortless affection. It's about the battles they fight within themselves just to remain by your side. When they stay through the storms, when they choose closeness over distance, when they fight to hold on instead of running away, that is love in its truest form, not the easy kind, not the predictable kind, but the kind that proves, without question, that you are worth breaking every old pattern for.